doing this, I'm going to be asking the president and the chiefs of staff to give their platform, and then I'm going to be asking questions. Once you finish that, we're going to open the floor to questions from the crowd, okay? So can the president start off with their platform? You know, just explain yourself, describe everything and why you're like for this position.
Who do you want?
Yeah, you can start.
Okay, sure. Hello everyone. My name is Denis Sotchabalatov, but I'm well known as Danny. Right now I'm the president of SCM, Association for Computing Machinery. Also I work as an RA. The reason why I'm running for the SGA president is as simple as this. I believe that there are a few changes that I would like to make for the entire student body. First of all, I think there's a lack of representation of international students. Taking the background that I'm an international student and I've been in the United States for 5 years, I believe that I have enough opinion and not say qualification in order to say that there are more things that we need to do for the international students and to have more international students actually be represented as the SGA. Other than that, since, as I said, I'm the president of the ACM, I've been working a lot with the SGA board this year, and I would say that there are a few things that have to be changed as of making it more professional, organized. Thank you.
Hi guys, my name is Brian Diaz. I am a behavioral science social work major here at NYIT. I've served as the Interdegree Council president as well as orientation coordinator, and currently I am the president of the Talk Kappa Epsilon Upsilon Mu chapter here on campus. The reason why I'm running for president for the Student Government Association is because here at my time at NYIT, I've seen the development and some progression and some things that have regressed, not only the student government, but as well as the relationship between students and staff on campus. My main goals are, one, to tackle what we define as community. So my thought of redefining community is establishing a better relationship between students amongst themselves within their clubs, organizations, as well as academic clubs, as well as any organization like the Community Service Center where students are working. So like Denny said, not only having SGA meetings as a time for students to meet and represent, but also have a time in which we can come together as a community and really speak on some of the issues that we have, not only in community meetings and stuff like that, but having kind of like a general census so that everyone gets to know who we are. The fact that we're separated by buildings, the international office, the student activities office, those are things that are obstacles in our way, and we have to make our community more inclusive. My second goal is to work closely with the staff and faculty. One of the main things that the president does is attends Academic Senate, which is representing this whole student body with the faculty here on campus and speaking about certain things that are affecting the community and what can we change. So what I would like to do is have a focus group where students can meet with their academic dean and kind of just have like an overview of the beginning of the year and the end of the semester. So not only community meeting, but something more specific. My third goal is working on NYIT's brand and expansion. So NYIT, we're a small community, we're a family, we're a close-knit unit, and I feel like we know each other well enough, but NYIT doesn't have something that attracts anything other than that. So I really want to collaborate with Fordham University, John Jay, expanding our school's name and having more of a variety for our students. And lastly, in terms of expansion and collaboration, working with our own NYT communities on different campuses. So as you see, Billy's recording this meeting today, having a discussion through different campuses like Abu Dhabi, Shanghai, and having more collaborative events within our own community.
Hello everyone, my name is Amar Vakas. You can call me Amar. I've been in NYIT for 3 years now, and I'm a computer science student and also an international student. And I believe for the position of Chief of Staff, I have a very unique perspective, not a very unique perspective, but a unique perspective, which is that I came to NYIT and my first impression of not only NYIT but America was this, right? I'd never been to the US before, so when I came here, everything that NYIT showed me was my first impression of America. And the face that they showed me was, we're friendly, we have events, we're catering to you, and that was something that I liked, and I feel like a lot of students, when they come to NYIT initially, feel that is something very positive. But then I went to a lot of events because I wanted to get involved, I wanted to make friends, I wanted to be a part of the community. But what a lot of people don't realize is, as an outsider, it's very difficult to get yourself involved in whatever activity or conversation is happening. And so when I went to events, it seemed to me like everyone already knew each other, even the students who were like freshmen along with me. It seemed like everyone knew each other. So although I tried to get in, I felt like each group had a specific personality, and then if I try to go in, I'm not really fitting in. And so I went through a few different phases at NYIT. First was, I'm trying to get in, but I can't. And then the second phase was, I just go to classes and then go home, right? And then I made some friends independently, and then I got more involved. So I've been to 3 different phases, and I feel like having been through all these phases, I'm very qualified to tackle them. So if I get this position, my main aim is to help the school identify people who want to get involved. You see them at events, but they're sitting quietly. They try to do something, but they come alone, they sit there alone, and they leave alone. And you see their faces, so you assume, yeah, they're doing stuff, but you don't really realize is they're just there, not doing anything. So that is a perspective that I have that I feel like I can share with, if I become a part of the SGA. I can share with them, I can help them identify those people, I can help them change their events in a certain way, where if we notice that someone is, for example, is trying to but is not able to participate, we can help them, not necessarily in a large crowd, like outside of the large crowd, outside of the event, on a smaller scale, so that the people who have complaints, the people who have things that they want to do but aren't able to do, that small group can get their voices heard. I have a plan. It's a great plan. And I know some really great people. So if I get into this, I promise you that when my great plan happens, things will be great. And we can make NYIT great again.
Hi, my name is Shreya Bendre. I am a second-year advertising student. So basically, why I want to be on SGA is because ever since I got to NYIT, I always felt like it had such great potential because of its location, and it's like a medium-sized school, so that everybody kind of knows each other. So some of my goals as chief of staff, I would like to increase the communication between staff and faculty. I would do that by having meetings with the heads of every department, every single semester, every few months, in order to keep communication, so they'll find out what the students want and stuff like that. And then I also want to increase the number of students who attend the Senate meetings. I feel like we could do that with different incentives or make it mandatory, something like that. And then I, of course, want to create more clubs related to students' hobbies. And then I want to have a monthly suggestion box so that anyone at NYIT can put in any complaints or any compliments about the school, so that us, the SGA, can make those changes. And then I definitely want to make sure that all the e-board members on clubs understand all the aspects of planning an event, because I was part of making a new club called Camp, and we kind of didn't really know how to make an event. It wasn't fully explained to us. So I want to make sure that a new club, they all understand how everything goes, making budgets, planning, getting money for everything. And overall, I just want to increase morale at NYIT, which I feel like we lack, and I want to make everybody feel at home.
So So I'm going to be asking you a number of questions, and then if whoever wants to answer first, they can answer. All right, and then there are specific questions for the role. I will specify those questions as well. So the first question, for this position, what is one way you can benefit the student population? Whoever can answer first.
Sure. Well, I know this is going to sound very sadly, but there's one thing that most of the students will agree with me, and is that NYIT is not a great school, and there are a lot of problems that students have with their faculty members and their departments. And this is something that I've been facing right now as well, and I've actually contacted the president of the NYIT in order to speak to him about the challenges that I've been facing, because so far I've been treated not very well by my own department, even though after everything that I've done for them. So I think there's like another thing that should be brought up. I think that a lot of students who actually spend their time benefiting each other, benefiting the government, the student body, including Tariq here. A lot of people face these problems. And a lot of these problems actually come from the not communication between each department. So for example, engineering department will only communicate within it themselves, and they're not gonna by any means communicate with any other department. When asked why, they said it's too much work. I think this is one of the problems that we have. The school itself, the students are very united, and SGA is something that keeps them together. But departments itself don't want to communicate between each other. No one wants to work together. So I think as a president, I'll be able to, speak, because I know that one of the jobs as a president is to meet with the heads of each department. I think this is something that should be brought up. The communication between each department has to be better. When, for example, in engineering department was planning TED Talks, I asked them, the topics were community and persistence, and they didn't have enough people to speak. So I told them, why don't you ask other departments? Most probably there are more students who would love to give speeches on these topics. There are a lot of students who actually have enough knowledge to give a speech, and there are departments that are actually delegated into this specific topics. The answer that I got was, it's too difficult. It's too much work. We don't want to deal with this. So this is something that I want to bring back. I want to make a better communication between each department and try to see where this is going to lead us.
Could you repeat the question, please?
For this position, what is one way you can benefit the student population?
Like I've said, through the positions and my work here at NYIT, I've worked with a lot of faculty and staff, and like Danny addressed, there are a lot of issues here on campus, not because, yes, because of communication issues, but our school is fairly new, and there are a lot of things that we can progress and really get to a chance to speak about. Certain topics that need that attention. That's why we have the community meetings. That's why we meet with our deans. Sometimes it doesn't work when a student directly impacts a department like that, but through our staff and our faculty, we address those issues and try to bring it up and try to make it more urgent. One way that I feel like I can impact the students here is perhaps not on a level that high, but simply just giving them the knowledge that I have acquired through working here as a work-study student, being involved as an orientation leader, or being in a club and organization, making them understand what it is to be involved and what that entails, and how that, in a sense, gives you the power and the ideas to want to bring up to the community and bring up to the departments. The more you're involved in our school, the more you see issues like that. So empowering our students through involvement is another way for them to raise awareness and to get those things changed. So that's something I can help contribute.
This question is really good for me, because this is something I specifically wanted to talk about. Like I said earlier, a lot of students, when they come to NYIT, have a really good impression of it, but then for a lot of them, as they proceed forward, that impression gets askew. So I feel like this happens because, first off, they're not aware, even though NYIT tries very hard through emails and through Collegiate Link to make students aware of things that are happening. And a lot of students aren't aware of the things that are happening. So the first thing, how I would use my position to address this issue is not only using flyers, not only using emails to contact people, sometimes we see stalls outside of the EGGC building. So sometimes, you know, when we have a major event coming up or something we want people to be more aware about, we can have similar stalls where we're giving away pins or hats or just, you know, maybe a cupcake if they listen to us or if they take a flyer or if they, you know, give us ideas of what they want. And another thing is how I can benefit people, students with my position is a lot of students have a lot of complaints, but they don't really say them to the qualified people. Like we have, NYIT tries very hard. They have the community meetings, but I've attended them, and what happens is the complaints that I hear outside of the community meetings, a lot of people don't actually say because there's a lot of pressure. So I feel like I will try to do better, enable them to communicate their grievances. I can give you a personal example, right? So a couple semesters ago, I had an issue with financial aid, right? And when financial aid gets messed up, you freak out. It's like the first thing that happens. So I'm not going to take any names, but I went to someone for help. And I'm like, okay, what can I do? And this is an NYIT staff member, and their reaction was, it's a business. If we help you, we have to help everybody. And that's not the best reaction to give to someone who's freaking out. So I feel like even though that person had the best intention, the way he said it was something that gave me a very bad impression. And I feel like a lot of students get this impression a lot because of miscommunication or misunderstanding, but a lot of the times because the staff members aren't, you know, like when they communicate with students, they're not necessarily 100% aware of whatever they're saying. So this is what I would do. I would use my position not only to try to get the students to be able to communicate better, I would try to get the staff members to be better trained, have a better understanding of how they should communicate with students under certain situations. Also, I have a great plan. I know really great people at NYIT, so we're going to make it great.
One way I think I could benefit NYIT, the student body of NYIT with my position is, again, I said my monthly suggestion box. So I feel like we have a bunch of complaints that we try to address at community meeting, but some people don't really want to speak up at community meeting. Like I know for me, like I probably wouldn't because there's just so many people around and it just gets stressful. So I think just like a box where you can just write down whatever you feel, and then us, the SGA, we can read them, and then we can figure out which departments we need to talk to in order to better communicate with them and to better fix those problems. And then again, having like a semester meeting with the deans or heads of all the departments, if they all come together, at least once a semester, they can all like discuss all the issues that students are having together, and hopefully make NYIT great again.
All right, so second question. Since we have such a diverse student population, what are your methods of communication?
This is a very interesting question. I feel like the best way to communicate with the diverse students is to first put out what's diverse about you, right? Because when a lot of people see you, they're like, oh, it's a New Yorker student. You know, a lot of people identify with the New Yorker student who's broke and having ramen. But you know, that's not it. Like a lot of people have different experiences. So to make them feel closer to you, you don't necessarily have to say, oh, we do this thing that's in common. You have to say, yeah, I came to New York, I came to NYIT, and this is because of my culture, because of my experiences, this is what I'm doing differently. And I feel like when students will see that you have differences as well, they'll be closer to you because everyone has differences. When they come from different places, they have differences in understanding different jokes, differences in understanding different situations. So when people see that, yeah, like someone else is also has a diverse view or a different experience, they will feel closer, and you know that will help bridge that gap.
I just want to put out there, try to keep your responses short because we have a number of questions, and then questions from the students as well, and time constraints as well. All right. So continue.
Just in in ways that we can communicate to our diverse campus, we have to keep in mind that not only is culture a factor, but also age. We have a bunch of different generations here and a bunch of different cultures. And one way we can be inclusive to those people is being that reflection in our executive board. So what we want to transfer, what we want to represent, and what we want to address to certain students, we have to exemplify that. We have to show those students that, yes, we are similar in this way. We might share some cultural things, but we also share experience and knowledge that you might not have, or you might have because of experience. So effectively, emails are always the best way to formally communicate to our student body. If we could have more of an opportunity to really enhance the social media aspect on different televisions, different ways that we can incorporate media here on campus, that would properly and effectively communicate what we want to relate to our students. So again, it's not just culture, there's age, and everyone comes from different walks of life. So what we represent is what we relay to our students.
Well, not only that, we can also try to target more social media, because most of the students nowadays are online most of their time. So this will be putting more attention into that will be better. And I'm glad to have a new position on the SJE board that will be taking care of that. That's been taken care of this year. Not only that, if you think about targeting the diverse community, I would say that first things that needs to be done is think of the entire student body split into different smaller groups, and see how these groups will be different from others, and what is one thing that keeps them all together. So if you look at the international students, you will see the patterns that happen in specific students that come from different countries. I could give an example. For example, since I said I've been in the United States for 5 years, and I'm only a sophomore here, so 3 years I actually lived and studied in a high school where we had a lot of international students. So, and the school was smaller, so it was really easy for me to see the patterns like that. For example, students from China tend to stick to their little small groups, and they don't even communicate between their groups with the other groups of Chinese students. So this is something very surprising. So everyone is very independent in their own small groups. So I think if everyone understands these small things and specifics of every single culture, we'll be able to find ways to communicate each culture, each community separately, and try to make everything more united.
So I feel like we do have a very diverse society at NYIT, but I feel like we also have a lot of similarities. One, we all live in New York, we all live the college life, so we all can relate to that. And the other one is we all use social media, so I agree that we can use Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, anything that can really speak to all of these people, because I don't know of anyone who really doesn't have social media, as well as an email. You have to have an email to come to school here, so that would be our best way of communicating with the diverse population.
Thank you. So, looking at past events, what plans do you have in mind to help clubs and organizations succeed, as well as increase student involvement?
So to increase involvement amongst different organizations and clubs on campus, we have to first realize that we are the NYT community, and even though we function as separate groups, that we all fall under the same category as the student government, and we all are a part of that. So our main theme is Relay for Life. That's one of the organizations that we collaborate with the American Breast Cancer Society to host an event where all of us as students come together and fundraise for this event. Not only can we have similar events to that, but also incorporate not only clubs, also Greek Life, also other organizations that might want to collaborate with NYT. It's not just limited to our students. Like I said before, expanding what we have from these 3 buildings into the rest of the city is what we have also. So something in common, like a sports event, maybe, having a concert, having a party, something that is understood even throughout different cultures and things like that. So that's some way you can enhance similarities among students and have them all come together and be more involved.
I have a sort of very similar approach to Brian, which is that we have to look at the kind of events that we have. I believe, a lot of the students at NYIT have the thing, oh, we went to that event because there was free pizza. And I feel like slowly, because of that voice that we went to the event for free food, even the events that are happening these days at NYIT that the clubs organize or the staff organizes, they just have the event in mind where most of the people who are going to come are just going to come for the food. So there's an event so that we can put on paper that we had an event, and there'll be food. The people who want to eat will come, they'll go, and that'll be success. But that definition of success is wrong. I was the senator. I am the senator for ACM, and I've experienced that when ACM had workshops where we taught specific things that a lot of students were interested in, we had a huge turnout. We did VR workshops with no food because we didn't want any distractions from the workshop itself, and we didn't want a non-serious crowd to be there, right? So what I found out was when we have an event where students are actually interested in, we have a positive turnout, and we had positive feedback. We took suggestions from students of what they would possibly want to see in future workshops, and they gave us positive feedback. So what I take from this is, although NYIT's had the I'd say tradition of having an event that, I'm not saying they didn't try, but the main attractiveness of that event was the free food. I feel like we need to look at what events we spend our energy and resources on, and we need to think about what events we should do instead and what the student population really wants.
So what I think we should do to get students more involved in campus life is cater more to hobbies instead of like their careers. I feel like people would be more interested in coming to an event about like art, like maybe like drawing, like paint night, with paint and sparkling apple cider, or there's a whole community in the, what's it called, the game room. We could have like a video game night where everyone just comes together and plays video games in the SAB or something like that. Something that will get people talking to each other, like people from different majors can come together and talk. I started camp with Alexandra, and everybody, they all like came together because they wanted to do something other than something related to their major. Like anybody wanted to come together and learn about marketing. So if we can try and get more clubs where anyone can really join, it doesn't have to do with your major, I feel like we can get more people involved.
Well, adding to that, we have few clubs that are very, let's say, technical and professional. But once again, since I'm one of them, our main goal is always to transition from there and try to cater the majority of the students. So we always welcome students of every major, and we teach from scratch everything. And that's another thing is that I think it's important to get feedback from students. For example, I would have students from architecture department or other departments come to me and just ask me for the workshops. They're like, hey, can you guys teach 3D modeling? And I'm like, I don't know 3D modeling, but I'll find you someone and we'll definitely have a workshop for you. So there is a lot of, communication is the key. So there should be some feedback coming back from the students constantly, so we know what they want, we know how to cater them properly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So this question is for the presidents. What are some venues that you plan on using to listen to the student body?
To listen to the student body?
Yeah. So do you want an example like social media or like in person?
So one venue that I do have in mind that, even though it's hard to come by and hard to reserve, is the auditorium on Broadway. That's sort of a small area where we all can fit in and have our students kind of just come up and raise a question and we can just discuss it together. So similarly how we did our community meeting event, a lot of students just came up to the mic or handed down a piece of paper and explained what they were dealing with, and it was just kind of like a free reign zone. So anyone that had an opinion, a question, a comment, had the opportunity to do so, and if not, they could have done it through Twitter, through Facebook. They were able to comment, and that is a very, I would say, comfortable environment for our students based off of what our turnout was, that it would be nice to have it as a reoccurring thing. So maybe bi-weekly or maybe once a month, so it's not something that gets left behind in the past, that it keeps being re-advised, so something that we can incorporate.
Well, as a computer science students, I'll try to bring more technology in and have students actually write anonymously forms of the questions and concerns that they have. And obviously, just the one-on-one, a lot of students know me, and I have a lot of students come to me specifically from our department, no matter what their major is, and they'll ask a lot of questions, they ask for help. So I have to go to dean or other faculty members and bring those questions up. So I would always try to have a good communication with the majority of the student body, and I would always try to keep it up as of, well, since I'm an RA, I also have to create a friendly environment and speak to my residents all the time, and we need to be in a great communication. And I think after being an RA for this year, I would say how much it means to show the examples to students and helping everyone out. So far I've been taking residents and giving them positions on different SGE boards, hooking up them with positions in different departments. So I think like I'll try to focus more on the students directly, to be very honest, just go and speaking one-on-one.
Okay. So, thank you. This next question is for the chief of staff position. What are some ways that you will be connecting with the student body so that they are aware of what is going on and how they can voice their opinion?
I feel like
No,
a very common strategy that everyone takes on this is just we'll make a social media account where we'll have a Facebook page, we have a Twitter page, we have a collegiate link, we have Instagram, we have so many things, right? But the thing about all of that is it gets cluttered, and a lot of students, honestly, when you're on social media and they're giving out complaints or suggestions, they're not 100% serious, or they're not, like taking a question being asked on Facebook seriously. They're like, it's online, no one's gonna listen to our voices, right? So very similar to the idea that Brian had, where we should have, where he said we should have monthly or bi-weekly. I feel like we should get the message out that there will be a specified time where a member of the SCA board, or for example even the chief of staff will be available, where they will be meeting with the students, where if you have complaints or issues or just anything that you want to talk about, they can. Because I feel like this is something I acknowledge, that on a one-to-one basis you reach less people, but the thing about meeting people on a one-to-one term, or like in a small group, in a personal group, without for example the supervision, they have a feeling that when they're actually talking to someone, there's a face, there's an identity that they're talking to. And then, for example, if they have a complaint, right, and they give it to me, for example, and nothing gets done about it, they can come back to me and they'll be like, you didn't help me out, what's the deal? Or are they working on it? Whereas if you use social media, which is, we should use it, but then if someone gives out, if there's a question on Twitter, give out, what issues do you have, or how can we make the community meeting better, for example, and someone gives an answer, and nothing's done about it. They're like, okay, it's done, it's up in the air, there's no, who can we talk to? And there are people they can go and talk to, but students don't make that effort. They have things going on, so it's just like they need a face, they need a one-to-one connection. That's what I feel like.
Okay, sure.
So I agree with him. I feel like you do need to have a face and to have like a meeting where you can just talk to that person and like complain to them or tell them like what your problem is so they can go fix it. But I also feel like social media is a good tool to use. You basically, on social media, you don't have a face, like you could just be whoever you want. You can ask a question anonymously. Well, not anonymously, but like you can ask a question. And overall, like someone at SGA will answer you. So I feel like that is how we can, communicate to them. We can cater to their needs based off that, and that's it.
All right. So this is the final question from me, and then we'll open up to the student body. How would you prioritize your SGA in your daily life? In addition, would you be willing to bypass other opportunities for the betterment of the organization?
So prioritizing SGA would just be me refocusing on myself. What do I have to personally do? So it's my classes. Do I have work? Do I have SGA? As I've been involved in other clubs and organizations, now I'm finally up to a point in my NYIT career where this is all that I would have my focus on. So just making sure that SGA is prioritized on the top of my list, because it's not only me doing an executive board role, it's handling the affairs of students on our campus. So if there's an immediate thing that needs to be handled, that should be on the top of the list. And then my academics and other things like that. I also want to go into higher education, so it aligns to what I want to do. So SGA is something that can help push my passion for it and to really advocate and to really learn how to time manage so that I can help our student body and to further myself and to make sure that I'm successful.
Wait, can you repeat the question?
Sure. How would you prioritize SGA in your daily life? And would you be willing to bypass other opportunities for the betterment of the organization?
Okay. So I feel like this is the answer that I'm going to give is sort of like a selfish answer, which is even when Megan asked me why I want the position, I'm taking this position as, even though I want to help NYIT, this is a very important learning experience for me. You know, I'm working with the NYIT staff. I'm working in a position where I have immense responsibility, and I want to take as much as I can from NYIT. So I feel like I'll be prioritizing the SGA position because I want to take as much out from the position as I give to it, right? I want to improve the experience that students have at NYIT, as well as gain experience I will need further in my life afterwards. And something that, you know, if a lot of people say this, that I want to work to better the experience that people have so that they have a better experience that I have. But a lot of people don't necessarily believe that. It's just something people say. But my sister might be coming to NYIT in like a couple of years because my parents don't trust other places, and since I've been here, they're like, okay, we can send her here. And it's very hard for a girl from Pakistan to go international. So I feel like if my sister's coming here, I want to do everything I can before I leave NYIT so that if she comes here, you know, she has a better experience, she has a better setup where she can just get integrated into. Selfish answer, but yeah, that's true.
Prioritizing, I'll think of it as a job, because it's basically it is a job. So, I think that'll be pretty much it.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think besides schoolwork, SGA is a top priority. Like you said, it's like not a job, but like an internship basically, where you're learning how to communicate with others. You're helping out all types of students get more involved, helping them become better. And you're also learning how to work with a team and, again, time management and all that. So it's a top priority.
All right. This will open up the floor to any questions from the student body. Devin?
Okay. So it's for any position. At community meetings, I've noticed that a lot of issues are repeated time and time again, and nothing really truly ever changes. People bring up the same problem, and the department says the same thing. Oh yeah, we're working on it, but nothing ever actually happens. And there's only really so many times that students can say the same thing because nothing's really going to change. Since SGA is the voice of the student body, how will you guys push to make sure that our voices are heard at community meetings and changes actually do take place?
The issue is that the only time that these problems are brought up are during the community meeting. And so, as our dean said before, to be consistent, that's something that we have to do, and we have to address constantly. So it's not just that one time to do it. If the SGA is helping raise our students' concerns, then the SGA will be the ones to continue and be that liaison. So making sure that it's something that doesn't get thrown away until the next meeting, it's something that's addressed. And yes, those things take time, because it's in a system where our deans are the ones representing us at that point, and then speaking to the higher positions in our institution. So what we as an executive board can do is make sure that those things don't die out, that we're continuously raising those certain points.
I really like your question, because this is something I've thought about that I would actually do if I get the position. When I came to NYIT during my orientation, someone was giving a speech, and they said something that I thought was very weird at the time, where they said a lot of students had a problem with a specific professor, and we got enough students supported the movement to the point where the professor was removed from his position. So I know for a fact that if there are some issues, if there's enough weight given to the issue, NYIT will eventually handle it. I feel like, when people bring up issues at community meetings, they're like, okay, this is an issue, but since then no one repeats it, right? They feel like it's not a huge issue, or it can be managed, or if they did do something, for example, that the students don't know about, if they don't hear any feedback or any continuous complaint, they feel like, oh, the issue is resolved. I know for a fact that one of the major issues that NYIT suffers from is having professors that the students don't really like, or feel like they cannot understand the professor, or feel like the professor is not teaching well. I feel like, if we let the students know that there is precedent for NYIT solving students' problems, and if we get them involved give them updates on the situation, they will continue to give their voice to the higher staff, and the staff will also know that the students are actually concerned about this. This is not just something they said casually. I feel like that intercommunication will help get the job done.
Okay, thanks. Oh, sorry.
Oh, can I answer the question real quick?
Yes.
Well, I think the first thing we have to understand is that there are some issues that cannot be resolved within 1 semester or 2 semesters. There's certain things that take more time, and we have to understand that. Unfortunately, this is not a fairy tale when changes are made in the next day. One thing that we could do is that we actually had a meeting with the president before the community meeting, where we would be, like the student leaders were able to address certain issues, and we were told that we're going to have that meeting after the community meeting, but we never did. So I think actually following up and talking directly to the president, because the SJE board actually has the power to do so. So I'd say that that would be a great benchmark.
I think the SGA just has to be extremely persistent with these deans, just to keep following up constantly in order to communicate with them. And also, I think not all departments, but some departments have a student advisory committee for the deans. So if we can get those students to have the meetings with their dean and discuss all the problems that they're having, maybe those deans will move forward with that.
Thank you.
Yes, I tried to set up, so I work in the communication arts department. I've been there for 2 years already, because I've taken a lot of classes here when I was in high school, and I was very successful also in the pre-college program. We were trying to set up a program here where we could sort of have a whole TV crew go out and shoot some stuff like the NYIT auditorium on Broadway, but we're having trouble motivating students. And I think that the only way for the whole department to actually come together, because I've done shoots in the past with Greater Public Schools Television. I teach 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, all the way to 12th grade. Everything from television production to special effects I specialize in. So the one thing that I think is going to help when it comes to would it be possible if we could have a program within that specific department where students can gain extra credit for their production classes for actually going out and filming stuff and participating on shoots and things like that. How can that possible? How can a proposal like that reach a point where it's successful enough, where students are getting more involved, and we want to give students real hands-on experience working on cameras or doing editing and stuff like that, learning how to do it on their own, not sitting in classes, going on real shoots and things like that, to give them the skills they need to have the edge. So how can that work?
I would think that if students are really looking for different ways in which they can interact within the logistics in their own major, specifically in the Comm Arts department, if students really want some hands-on training and experience, and they're not getting that from the department itself, or they're not seeking that through an internship, then that's something that students will actually be interested in. Now, what the department can do is speak amongst themselves and see if they can coordinate something like that. And if, Billy, yourself, if you're interested in something like that and that's what you're proposing, you can speak with them. And if they address that issue and speak on that and have a sign-up sheet or a way that they can advertise to our students, then you'll get that result. And if it's not, then it's through how many people you connect with and how many students we get under that proposal. So it's all a matter of coordination. If you can speak to your dean and see if you can get a fluctuation of students into something like that and seeing if they can make it beneficial where it's like an assistantship or maybe a part of an internship, then that would drive students to want to participate in something like that.
So just before you answer, just to pick up on what he said. So I believe, if I understand correctly, what he's saying is how do we take NYIT from theoretical to more practical? So that would apply to not just the, his department. It would apply to all departments, such as architecture is mostly already ahead in that, probably engineering too, from what I hear. But how do we get like MBA students, like people that are in like business or other majors to be more hands-on rather than theoretical? Because theoretical gets you only so far, because everything you learn in school right now is it's theoretical, it's just the fundamentals. It's most likely not what you're going to be practicing once you get out there. How do we get people from thinking from just the textbook to the actual doing? And I think that's the question he's asking. How do you guys, as future SGA board, plan to get the mentality of NYT and the staff and the faculty from that aspect to the hands-on aspect? So you can get it.
Well, you'll be surprised, but there are actually a lot of different opportunities within each department. And it will be funny, but there are actually quite a few business challenges and competitions that have been happening and been only promoted within the engineering department for some reason. But they're actually the business challenges for the State University of New York, for example, that are all supposed to be today in the morning. What I'm saying is that, once again, there is no communication between the departments. When one department gets an opportunity to have our school represented on the uni business competition, the business students don't know about it. And this is how we end up. So there are some opportunities. In your case, I'm sorry, but do you want to get credit for the work that you do, for the hands-on work that you do, or?
Not specifically right now, because I am having an internship this summer at freesocialevents.com. Special thanks to Richard Lee, former student of the Commerce Department, who I was friendly with. What I want to do is that I'm aware that there is a lot of freshmen who cannot get access to internships right now, because a lot of the internships are only available for college juniors and things like that. I also want a place where students who want to seek internships, let's say, in their freshman and sophomore year. I have a lot of connections out on Long Island that are accessible via the LIRR that can allow students who live on Long Island to get those internships. I know people at Grand Public Schools Television, public access television, like that. I have a lot of connections myself, but I want to get probably a whole crew together as sort of like an independent study, so we could give them the hands-on skills. That way, for students, I know students who have come into this program who have learned absolutely nothing, and then they come in and they're amazing. So we want to help them in their freshman year and sophomore year. That way, when they apply to internships in their junior year, they are more successful than students who don't seek those opportunities.
So what you can do is you can look up into professional organizations for your specific major. And I would definitely suggest opening a club within the SGA, because this is something that there is a need for this, and this is something that you can do. This is something that we've been doing. We'll have a professional organization, and we teach the workshops and prepare students for their careers in the future. So if you could do something like that, we'll also do hands-on stuff. If there's anything that you want to collaborate with other clubs with, there are a lot of different clubs, computer science, engineering, architecture, a lot of non-professional clubs as well, non-professional organization clubs as well, that you can collaborate with. So you can get somewhere with this, and it seems like there's a need for students, so I'll definitely suggest looking into this, and maybe like starting actual professional organization where you'll be giving workshops and actual hands-on stuff, so students will have their portfolio built, and when they apply they will know already how to apply for the internship, and they'll have their portfolio ready with all the skills that they need when they go for a job.
Just want to put out there, we have time for 2 more questions, because then we have class as well. question.
I'd like to really quickly just answer. First off, before I answer, I feel like the question that you asked and he asked are slightly different, wherein he has a very specific thing that he wants. I feel like going the way that Danny suggested, opening up a club is one way to, is one of the better ways to handle the situation. But another way you could do it is write a petition with a group of students that, for example, you know that who want this group made, who can work. For example, gather a group of students who you want to start the group with initially, right? And when you have them, when you have a proposal of what you want, then you can come to us when we are the SGA and we can work with you specifically, because this is something specific you know that you want. We can work with you to work with NYIT and have this club made. For example, as my president at ACM, Denny asked us to try and figure out a way where we can live stream the Senate meeting, right? And we tried, but we couldn't do it because we couldn't find students willing to film it, or we couldn't find a crew. So if you do your part, we can do our part, and then together we can have this thing made together. Your answer was not specific, it was on a larger scale. I feel like a lot of students feel like, oh, if they need practical skills, they can go to the career services, but then a lot of students don't feel like they got the feedback that they wanted from the career services. So a way we can handle this is we have clubs specific for the engineering department, and then we have other clubs, like for example, fitness or dance, but no other clubs from other departments. Like there's no architecture club. There's? Okay, I apologize so much. But I feel like the point that I was trying to make was, I feel like clubs from other departments need to be made, and they need to be more active, because when there's a club, when there's a student actually trying to get work experience, they can work in collaboration with career services, right? And that's how, for example, freshmen who don't have a lot of experience, who don't have a lot of credentials, can get the experience that they want. Because if you get a freshman student who has no experience and tell a company to take this, the company wants to help students, but they're also looking at what they're getting. So not a lot of companies will take that. So I feel like that's the way to approach this situation.
We just have time for one more question, actually. Sure, you want to explain?
I want to, but we can
Yeah.
go to the next one.
You can talk.
I just was gonna say, I know in the in the communications department, they have a lot of externships. So if we can get externships within all the departments, then all students can go have a hands-on experience and get credits for that. Also, if there is a professor who wants to be a part of a club, I feel like that would make a difference in your the video editing thing, in order to make it more credible.
That's it.
One final question?
Yeah, I'll get it. There's also, so I also noticed, just looking from the outside in, with the different, as things are right now within the different organizations on campus, it seems everybody just has their little cliques. And as SGA, it's supposed to be building that community. How do you guys plan on changing the unique mentality to a community mentality?
Do you mean within the clubs, or
Yes.
you mean within the entire student body?
Within the club, so just like, each club is, so you have each club having their own event, not supporting other organizations that are still part of that main community of SGA. How do you guys plan on changing that mentality from, oh, this is my organization, we're gonna have our events and try to, make our organization successful, rather than, it's building that community. Other organizations attending, some other Roots attending Swag, or, SWE attending, some other, just how do you guys plan on creating that camaraderie?
I think we could encourage a lot of collaborations between clubs. That way everyone will attend each other's events. Also we can have incentives. So if somebody goes to another person's club, maybe they get maybe $100 more for their budget, something like that. Or just make it mandatory that they have to attend one other club meeting, event.
I'd say it should be brought up on the training, and we should change the way the training is made, the way we have it right now, and just the way that the whole SGA is structured. There are a lot of things that are, I would say, like last-minute mandatory for the clubs, and obviously that pisses off a lot of clubs because they're like, well, we didn't know in advance, so now we don't have enough people, therefore we're getting sanctioned right now. So there's a lot of this, once again, communication, as simple as it might be. This should be fixed. And then there's another mentality also. Whenever I took the position in ACM, I always thought of it as sort of like competition. And then when I started spending more time with other clubs and within the SGA, I realized that this is more about actual working together and benefiting the entire student body. So even my mentality has changed. And I think that only by having more collaborative work together, this is something that most of the students will have to understand. This is not something that we can change in one night. We'll have to make events where we'll be able to cater every single club and to have a lot of them come all together, so they see an actual difference in the impact that they do for students, because everyone just sees within their own club.
So right now the student government actually does promote collaboration, specifically at least having one event in collaborations towards Relay for Life. So it doesn't have to be the actual Relay for Life event, but it has to do with 2 clubs or a variety of clubs working together to fundraise for that specific cause. Also, like Denny mentioned, when it does come to sanctions, the SGA does encourage students to appeal. And when they appeal, another option is to collaborate. And through collaborations, that's how you get that diverse event or that other outreach from different clubs. So for example, all of the architecture clubs can come together and host an architectural event. An engineering club or an academic computing club, all of them can have something in similar to have an event, to host an event. Not necessarily just being an academic event. Swag, fitness club, we have clubs that don't cater necessarily to academics, but can revolve around making those more structural and academic clubs into a fun event. So there is a chance to collaborate, and I feel like the SGA does a good job in enforcing collaboration. Now it's just keeping that tradition going and trying to get clubs to really work closely together and making sure that that is being enforced as well.
My take on this question is camaraderie is not, and a sense of community and belonging is not something you can force. It's something that happens over time. So I feel like right now, as things are, we're slowly progressing. We're working with more clubs. Things are improving, and we just have to continue on that. If you force clubs to attend other clubs' meeting, or if you force a club to attend it, right, and others be at an event at a time at a place, they're gonna go there. But the mentality that they're gonna have is, I don't want to be here. And then when they meet the people, the sense that they're gonna have is not the sense of camaraderie or belonging or friendship. It's not something you can force. So with time, you just promote clubs to work together. You promote students to attend events. You do these things slowly and realize that it's something you work towards, not something you can force. And the harder you try to force it, the more you're going to annoy the people who you're trying to bring together.
All right, that's it, and thank you very much. Good luck to you guys all, and then our second debates will be this Thursday for the VP of Judicial, Finance, and Marketing.